Summer's coming. What do the parents of UAE expect from the summer of 24?
Oh, lots of a very exciting summer camp coming up. So we usually do 8 weeks, and this time we've themed it. So we have one theme is space. I think we have history. Because it's we're collaborating now internally between Abu Dhabi and Dubai and the ideas and creating the project. So please keep your eyes out open on our social media platforms because we will be announcing it very, very soon. We love camps because we feel this is where kids really get immersed in our activities in our programs. So we look forward to having them. And in fact, it's funny you're saying this now because I was discussing this with the team recently that we want to trial woodworking lessons in Arabic in Abu Dhabi because we find that in Abu Dhabi we have a bigger local Arabic-speaking clientele that comes to the center there. So watch this space.
Okay, so today on my episode of the first season, A Cup Full of Passion, I have another very, very exciting talk with an innovational entrepreneur, a visionary, a woman you could fall in love with. I'm talking of Lina Sadek, the founder of Studiyo Lab. Welcome, Lina. It's wonderful that you're here with us today, and we are looking forward to learn your story of passion in building this wonderful, wonderful brand, which is a treasure, a creative treasure to all the kids of UAE.
Ranjana, thank you. I'm so humbled by that introduction. You're too kind, and I'm actually really excited to be here.
Lovely. So Lina, there's so much to learn from you and, what inspired you to start this journey. Let's talk about what Lina's world looks like. A super mom, entrepreneur who's always, up to new ideas, someone who loves her team and who manages everything just so perfectly, all in 24 hours. That's surprising. How do you do that?
You're so funny. So my typical day actually is I wake up, if I have my exercise, which is very, very important for my mental well-being. It starts my day off correctly for me. So I get that out of the way. I obviously spend a little bit of time with the kids. Either I drop them off to school if it doesn't clash with my exercise, and then I'm off to my happy space. I go to Studiyo Lab, meet up with my wonderful team there, and to be honest, every day is very, very different. We deal with whatever new inquiries we have or what we're planning for the kids, or we look at what we've done before, in our previous workshops. And then, so that's my morning taken care of. And I absolutely go and I pick up my daughter from school. And either I drop her to ballet or I'm home for the other kids and doing mummy stuff with them, and then spending some time with my husband. And then if we have social commitments, I also, do that as well. So that's like a typical day in my life.
Lovely. And what is the secret ingredient for Lina to manage all of that? What's that passion that's driving you, creating every day as a new day, a new memory for Studiyo Lab?
So Ranjana, really it boils down to, for me personally, curiosity. I have this deep curiosity to see how, if I have an idea, for example, like I'll get inspired from something I saw on Instagram, or I'll get inspired from something I read or something I heard. And then I love to bounce the ideas off of my team, for example. This is at work. So really what drives me is curiosity, and that curiosity drives the passion.
Wonderful, definitely. So tell us about, I'm very curious to know, how did you think of this name? So Studiyo Lab, and it's spelled very differently, right? It's Studiyo Lab.
Yes, exactly.
How did it all start?
So really it all started, I'm going to go back a little bit in history. It started when I became a mother. to my firstborn Ismail. And at the time, I was actually working for family business. And I thought I would take 3 months, 6 months off of work to, to be with my baby. And I was very, very happy at work. I was heading up the corporate affairs division of, at the time, my father's construction company. And I really, really enjoyed my role. But then I discovered I cannot leave my baby son to be brought up by a nanny, and especially that I wanted him to be immersed in our mother tongue, in Arabic. So that made me stay at home, and I suddenly found that I was engaging a lot with him, and we were playing a lot together, and I was reading a lot to him. But the things we would play in happened to be in the English language, but I would never play in English. I would always translate on the go. And then suddenly I thought to myself, well, why are there not more educational Arabic toys to encourage language development, with babies or with little kids? So I thought, you know what, I'm going to get into this business and I'm going to go and find out, what's out there. So that year, I remember Ismail was maybe a year old. I went to the Hong Kong Toy Fair and just fell in love with the world of toys. And there they told me that the real educational toy fair to go to is in Nuremberg. And because the Hong Kong Toy Fair and the Nuremberg Toy Fair generally tend to be back-to-back, I had to wait for another year to go and visit. And that's in fact what I did. We went, my husband and I absolutely loved I discovered that I love hunting for new ideas, it ignited this passion inside me. And I came across this Austrian company that manufactures the machines that actually we use now at Studiyo Lab to teach kids woodworking. So on the spot, crazy me, I went and bought 18 of them just because there was an offer, and my husband looked at me and he's like, what are we going to do with 18 machines? I said, Tariq, one day we're going to open an educational toy shop, which thank God didn't happen, because 2 years later the whole world went into an economic crisis, but that's another story. So the whole DIY concept, so my vision was that I wanted to create a business that was like a studio, not just for woodworking and metal casting, but a studio where kids could come and engage in all kinds of hands-on making activities, where they would learn with fun. So because I thought of studio, I don't know how the idea of, writing it down, I thought that the sound DO is DIY, and I thought, you know what, it's a clever play on words. And I have a super talented cousin, actually, that I collaborated with, and he created the logo, which I love. Sorry if I'm going to be a little conceited, but I do love this logo, and it truly reflects, the activity that we do. It's all about do it yourself. That's Studiyo Lab in a nutshell.
Okay, so Lina, of course, I can very much relate, because as a parent, first thing we look is giving our kids the right blend of skill and learning. And what better way to put them into a DIY lab, which is so engaging. But woodworking, how do you think this has helped parents and kids overcome, some struggles, or maybe focus on certain attributes which were important for their development? How does the studio work towards it?
Okay, so now I have this philosophy where kids today, it's a reality. The reality of kids' lives today is that the iPad, electronics, the PlayStation, gaming, it's a reality in their lives. So if parents come to us thinking that their kid is going to forget totally about electronics and just engage in hands-on making, I think this is unfair. I think you need to have a happy balance. So when a parent comes to us, definitely the kid is going to engage in hands-on making, and it's back to basics. So we're not a design technology lab like the labs you would find in senior schools. We're actually a maker space that concentrates on kids of the primary years, so kids from the age of 5. So there's really nothing like it. The positive attributes that comes from actually working with a medium like wood is that, first of all, kids come and they're using a live material that's relevant. They're making things that they are proud of, that they can also use. So kids come to us, for example, they'll make a candy dispenser, or they'll make a tissue box or a birdhouse, or a bow and arrow, a sword, things that interest them. So what better way to encourage kids to make things than to make things that mean something to them? It's relevant for them, which I think, unfortunately, today, I'm a mother of 3. And even though I love the school my kids go to, but I can see that the education system as a system fails a lot of children because it doesn't inspire them with the the topics that the kids have to engage in, or the things that they're required to make or learn. It's not relevant. So it also encourages their hand-eye coordination to improve. It gives them better focus. Definitely gives them confidence in themselves, because they come in unsure, not even aware that they could even use a machine, but they leave with a tangible outcome that they truly are proud of. I mean, I remember in the early days of Studiyo Lab, we used to get kids that would come and, for example, make a tissue box, and I would look at the tissue box, and in my head I'm thinking, they haven't sanded it properly, or it isn't colored properly, and I want to lunge and grab the tissue box and finish it for them by myself. But then I realized that the smile they're leaving with, the sense of accomplishment, khalas, this is the sign, that they're really happy with it. And every time they come, they improve. It's a process, So like anything, it's not you come one time and then suddenly they're fantastic woodworkers. No, it's a process. And I think that process is a really important learning journey for the kids.
Very true. As they say, teach me and I may forget, engage me and I will remember for life. And that's truly the purpose that Studiyo Lab fills into every child who walks in, coming back with a purpose, with a smile. How do you instill this purpose in your team, Lina? Because you have a wonderful ambience. I visited your studio a couple of times, been there with your team. And I think every person, every corner reflects this passion of Lina. How is it possible?
So I'm really, really happy that you say this, Ranjana, and this is really, it means the world to me. To be honest with you, when I first opened Studiyo Lab, I always thought that Studiyo Lab could only be taught by very professional design technology teachers. And these teachers, they come with, certain packages, and they need holidays. And so in a sense, I was handicapped in the beginning. And then COVID came. So actually, we opened Studiyo Lab in October 2019. COVID happened March 2020. We had to shut down, a new business. This was, it could have killed us. But I reopened in July 2020, and I had nobody. Everybody left except the 2 reception ladies that were supporting me. So I found that I suddenly had to go back and hire from the beginning. And then I realized when I was interviewing potential teachers that really what mattered is the attitude. Of course, their experience, meaning their background, they have to come from a hobby background. So it could be engineering, it could be they love to draw, it could be they're product designers, it could be that they are graphic designers, industrial designers. I'm talking about actually the stuff that we have now. But more important is also the attitude. They have to come with a fantastic attitude, a can-do attitude, a I love kids attitude, I'm excited to be here attitude. So really, this is the common thread. I'm so proud to say that my tribe, I call them my tribe, my team have across our 3 locations at Studiyo Lab.
Wonderful. 3 years in 3 locations. That truly goes to all the creativity and curiosity that you're cultivating in the culture of your team, and that truly reflects. So tell us, how is it managing these 3 studios with so much of work, a larger team? I think you're 35 plus, if I'm not wrong.
True.
What is the most challenging part, and what is the most lovable part of Studiyo Lab?
Okay, so I think the most challenging part is the consistency. Mm-hmm. So everything we do at the mothership, which is Studiyo Lab Dubai, has to be exactly followed in Abu Dhabi and the same in Sharjah. Having said that, I always say to the team, it's like opening, for example, 3 hotels. Okay, 3 hotels in 3 different countries. Okay, I'm going to say countries. It also needs to reflect the community of that particular city. So actually, if you go to Studiyo Lab Abu Dhabi, you'll see there's so many common things between Studio Lab Dubai and Sharjah, but there's a lot of unique aspects to it that actually has grown because of the community of Abu Dhabi, similarly with Sharjah, similarly with Dubai. But the most important thing, of course, when we have such a large team, is the communication. So I'm a bit of an old-fashioned girl. I know my team have always tried to put me on Asana, which I keep rebelling against. I like WhatsApp. So we have a WhatsApp group, really, in a nutshell. I have everybody on this WhatsApp group, and I'm extremely transparent. And, you know, we share everything on the group. We share our, so if there's been great reviews from Abu Dhabi, we share it with everybody and we celebrate it. Similarly with Dubai, if there's been a negative review or an upset parent, we also share this. And we love to collaborate, of course, when it comes to the research and development. Everybody feels like they have a vested interest in the success of our programs to make the kids that come to us also have a successful experience.
Wow, you made it sound so easy, and it definitely isn't that easy managing such a large team and making sure this WhatsApp group is actually a breeding ground of ideas, of learning, of sharing experiences. But that kudos to your leadership and to your vision, Lina. I think that is what is unique for Studio Lab. Tell us about what is the unique factor of someone coming to Studio Lab and asking for a program in another language, maybe Arabic. As you said, you wanted to promote education in Arabic. So is there an option for parents to ask for that support of having a program delivered in Arabic or in another language?
So, you know, I'm going to use the example of Emirates Airlines. When they say, you know, when you get on the airline and they'll tell you that they have, the team speaks 21 languages. So, you know, to show you how multicultural they are. We are very multicultural. Mm-hmm. I always like to say we're like the United Nations. So we have Arabic-speaking teachers. Mm-hmm. We have Zimbabwean teachers. We have a teacher that can speak Russian. We have South African teachers. So it really depends. The option is there. And in fact, it's funny you're saying this now because I was discussing this with the team recently that we want to trial woodworking lessons in Arabic in Abu Dhabi because we find that in Abu Dhabi we have a bigger local Arabic-speaking clientele that comes to the center there. So watch this space.
Wow. And I'm sure your kids love the space too because they bring those lovely smiles and confidence when they enter the lab. How fond are they of what you're doing, of your initiatives and the time that you devote to Studio Lab?
Are you talking about my children specifically?
Yes, your
okay.
children.
So remember, Studio Lab was actually born because of Ismail, my eldest. And before I even decided to launch into this as a proper business, I remember I had Ismail and about 8 or 9 of his friends come and do a pilot with the teacher that I had hired at the time. So every Saturday for 3 hours, we would meet up in this teacher's DT lab. And after 4 weeks, the kids were really, really happy. So we launched Studio Lab. So actually, Ismail used to come to every camp that I would run. I would like to say that he benefited a lot from it because Ismail is now almost 16 years old, super talented boy with his hands, but he has a passion for something called Warhammer, where he creates these miniature, very ugly figurines. Sorry, Ismail. And he does miniature painting of them.
Wow.
And he's so talented, he even takes commissions because of it. Does he come to Studio Lab to engage in woodworking? No, he doesn't do that now, but he used to. But it was a launching pad for him. Similarly, my middle boy, Riyadh, he comes to Studio Lab. He comes to help out, actually, also if we have a birthday party or if we happen to have a field trip and he's off, then he'll come and he'll assist and he'll actually demo for the teachers. Jana is actually in the program. She's doing design technology with us. So, you know, I always like to tell parents that when they bring kids to Studio Lab, not to force their kids into doing our program, that they have to find something, as long as their kids are engaging in hands-on making, something that, you know, piques their passion. And it doesn't have to be woodworking. It could be sewing. It could be painting. So, and that's exactly what I do with my kids. Like, I give them the opportunity to try other hands-on activities. So Jana's done sewing, drawing. Similarly with Riyadh, he does drawing as well, and other activities that encourage different kinds of skills. That's really what it boils down to. They have to be given the opportunity to discover the skills that they love, and to stick with it, so they can thrive. So they can go through that process of improving and honing in on their skill.
Lovely. And Lina, I must say that Studio Lab is not just passion, but you found a true purpose in it. When you started, you had a goal. Maybe you say you were not rational enough to buy those 18 machines, but yes, all that made sense and it would perfectly fit into the pieces. So tell us one thing, when all this started, how was it to take things at home? Were there challenges for you to move from being just a mom to managing business and then going back? How was it to and fro? And of course, we know that, and maybe the listeners would love to know, how did you fight the most toughest phase of your life? You've been a cancer survivor, and that's not easy. That has some learning, that has some marks that you take ahead, always thinking about it, reflecting on it. So how did this journey help you cover those marks?
So, I don't know if you remember, I mentioned that Studio Lab was founded in 2016. And people might think, oh, it's 2024, so it took you, 8 years to be where you are today? Actually, not really, because like you mentioned, I had a health challenge. So in December 2016, after I founded Studio Lab, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I remember I called the teacher, Don, at the time, and when I told him the news, he was devastated. And the first thing I said to Don is, Don, I'm not stopping Studio Lab's work. It'll continue. We'll continue to be an after-school woodworking provider. Let me just sort myself out. I'll go do whatever I need to, surgery, treatment, whatever. And to be honest, in my very naive head, I thought, it'll be 6 months and I'll be back. Actually, it took 3 years. 3 years of, going through hormone therapy, many surgeries, dealing with a woman that I no longer recognize, to be honest, because if I tell you, it does things to your body and your mind when you go through hormone therapy. Unless you go through it, you really wouldn't understand. So that was a very, very tough journey at the time. But I like to say that Studio Lab was in a coma, like a long coma, a deep sleep for about 3 years. And then I remember in 2019, or beginning 2019, I thought, you know what, I'm ready. Let's give this baby a real chance. We can't continue to be like a nomad gypsy going from one, hotel ballroom to another, trying to rent spaces just to do camps. It couldn't continue like that. So we had this amazing opportunity with Times Square, where the wonderful manageress there, Nancy, loved the concept so much, even though we didn't have a physical presence anywhere, but she understood the importance of this kind of workshop and activity for children and their families. So she gave me the opportunity to actually open in Times Square, in the location, Ranjana, that you visited me in, the 3,000 square foot space. She gave all that to me for honestly very little money rental a month. And our agreement was for 6 months and that I would be a pop-up, imagine. So we agreed in the summer of 2019 and then opened in October. Opened with a very professional team, I have to say. And then in March 2020, COVID came and then closed us down. But I like to think of this as a blessing in disguise because, and this could be another topic, I mean, my entrepreneurial journey with Studio Lab, I think, started in a very, very wrong way. Because I started off by paying unrealistically very high salaries that it would have driven my business to the ground, even though my husband warned me at the time. But I kept telling him, no, Tariq, trust me. These people can multitask, they can do this, they can do that. But on hindsight, it was a big, big mistake. And subhanAllah, I think God kind of came and protected me from potentially a really big disaster. And it would have killed what I think is a beautiful business. And really serves the community. And in that time when I had to close, I had to also seriously think about, do I reopen? And despite the strong advice I got from around me, don't open again because you don't know what COVID is, I still opened. So we opened in July 2020. But to be honest, what really helped as well is the fact that the Nancy, again, my little hero, the mall manageress, the mall did not take rent from me for the whole of 2020. So that helped. But obviously, I had to reflect. I had to think, what is Studiyo Lab? What are we really offering? Kids that come to us, are they really learning skills? Or do they have to keep coming back to us and they're at the same level and they need the same number of teachers? I mean, it's not a formula that works. So in that process, I had to hire from scratch, but again, God sent me the right people with the right attitude, and together we planned and we thought and we created. And it took 2 years because I get also a lot of people now that come to Studiyo Lab in Dubai and they say, how come we've never heard of you? Well, on purpose. We did not market. We did not do any PR because I wanted to make sure that anything we promise parents or any program that the kids come and do, we're actually delivering what we say we're doing, and that they are progressing, and we are measuring this progress. And we're able to feed back to the parents, and they can visibly see that the kids are progressing in their skills. So yeah, that was the challenge, the biggest challenge, to be honest. But I think my whole experience with cancer, for me personally, it taught me to be resilient. It taught me to be agile. I know these are maybe cliche words, but they truly did. Yeah. I always think, if you take stories of like our prophets, whatever religion, and you look at the journey that they went through, the suffering, personal suffering or loss, and it's not for nothing. It's because God intended for them to take on their shoulders maybe a great responsibility and a great message. So I like to think that all of these personal tribulations, what came from it is I needed training personally to grow out of my imposter syndrome and the lack of confidence that I had in myself that I could actually build this business myself, thinking I needed to hire expensive people to do it. But no, actually, I could build this business myself, but with the help of a really awesome team that has the same vision, same passion, same goal, so yeah.
That's beautiful. Lina, you so rightly put it that there's a very famous Shah Rukh Khan dialogue from Bollywood that जब शिद्दत से कुछ चाहो तो कायनात भी तुम्हें मिलाती है. So I think that's true for you. You face so many challenges, and of course COVID, fighting cancer, learning from falling down, failures, making mistake. All of that is a part and parcel of this beautiful journey that you've carved. And, look at the vision, look at those 3 studios standing out there, bright, welcoming kids with a big smile each day. I think that's a wonderful purpose you've put to your dream. And we are just so proud listening to your story, Lina. I can't say more. I mean, I just hope that you go beyond the boundaries. And on that note, we would love to hear what's the plan ahead. Where are we moving? Are we moving beyond UAE very soon?
I hope so. I mean, I'll be honest, again, about 2 years ago, we started getting inundated with franchise inquiries for Saudi Arabia because we had this lovely, lovely Saudi influencer that came with her kids, and bless her, she posted. And then suddenly there was a huge interest, and I found it overwhelming. And that's when I started thinking, okay, maybe we should be thinking. It was way premature for me. But again, we have built the business to be franchisable. But I personally will not easily go into any kind of franchise deal. It has to, again, be with somebody that really understands and believes and loves the vision and understands that this is a calling. Yes, it has to make money, of course, but it's not. That's not the end game. It's got to be the calling where you're benefiting the lives of many, many kids, especially today, where honestly, I mean, I'm one of these moms that's facing a battle with the PlayStation and electronic devices, etc., etc. But it's to find that happy balance, because you have to come. I mean, Ranjana, you have come, I think, and engaged in woodworking. Yes. You find your happy space. It really is your Zen moment. And everybody now talks about mental well-being. This is part of mental well-being. This encourages the mental well-being of these kids, bless them. It can't be easy to be a child today, really. But I see Studiyo Lab as a partner to schools, where it becomes a model for a makerspace in the primary years, which we don't have today. Yes, we have amazing DT labs for senior kids, but even then, it's not that it's too late, but when seniors reach like grade 6 and 7 and they're engaging in design technology, it's not purely in hands-on making. Right. So they have these incredible, industrial machines that with the press of a button, or they just have to program and it does the cutting, it does the molding. So they've lost out on some, I think, key aspects to the skills that they should have built really at a young age. And a lot of schools today don't give enough art. They don't give kids enough time to do hands-on making. I mean, I hear this from my younger, my daughter, who, as she's progressing in the grades, she's grade 4, her complaint is we don't do enough art, or she's not happy anymore because she misses that. It's not feeding her creative, energy, her creative need. So I see it, I hope, in schools as their choice of a makerspace. And let's see. But we're definitely looking outside the UAE, and I think our next international venture will be in Saudi Arabia.
Wow, all the very best. We are sure you'll soar high with all the new opportunities and ventures that's coming your way. And you spoke about collaborations. I must say, Lina, you are wonderful with that. The way you open your space to freelancers, to people who come there and share ideas, it's very welcoming. Are you looking for some collaborations that you feel will add value to your studio? Do you want to tell our listeners about anything that is on the waiting list or the bucket list of Studiyo Lab?
Everything. Anybody that has any talent, please contact us, but you have to be able to teach. So what we do is, for example, in Times Square, we have the ripe market. So you see me like a pest. I'm going from one stand to the other, looking around to see, this looks like an interesting product and it's handmade. First thing I say is, can you teach this? Yes, we can. Okay, so I like to invite them. I'll use my kids as, guinea pigs, and I'll get their friends to come. As long as that person with that talent can teach it and can stretch it out to an hour, can tell a story, can make it engaging, can inspire, they're welcome to come and use the space to collaborate with us. I absolutely love that, of course. This is blended learning, also for the kids, So yeah, absolutely, always on the lookout.
Wonderful. And with summers coming, what do the parents of UAE expect from the summer of 24?
Lots of a very exciting summer camp coming up. Yeah. So we usually do 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. And this time we've themed it. So we have one theme is space. I think we have history, because it's we're collaborating now internally between Abu Dhabi and Dubai and the ideas and creating the project. So please keep your eyes open on our social media platforms, because we will be announcing it very, very soon. We love camps because we feel this is where kids really get immersed in our activities in our programs. So we look forward to having them.
Lovely. That must be a to-do item in your list for all the parents out there, for a wonderful, engaging experience for your kids. And Lina, we come to this one wonderful question that's been my personal favorite. What is your burning desire?
Oh, my burning desire? For the business or for me personally?
For your personal growth. And of course, I know Studiyo Lab is a part of you, so it goes together.
So my burning desire for Studiyo Lab obviously is to see it recognized, or to see the value of what we do recognized by schools or maybe by educational authorities. And I always tell the team, whatever we've done until now is not the end. This is just the first version. So we're always improving, always looking for the next big thing, My personal burning desire is just, it's so simple, just to see my kids safe and happy and able to navigate in this very, very interesting, dynamic world that we live in, and always to be a good friend and a support to those that know me, because it's my nature to want to serve and help.
Rightly said, the chapter has just begun for Lina and for Studiyo Lab, and we wish you all the very best for unfolding the next level of stories and the next level of memories that you create. That was Lina Sadek revolutionizing the enrichment industry for kids in UAE. Watch out for Studiyo Lab picking up fire all over. Thank you so much, Lina.
Thank you,
It was
Ranjana.
wonderful to have you.
So all her details are available all the social medias on the podcast itself. Lina, I want you to give a quick testimonial for us. So we are Upodd Uae in Dubai with you. So any kind words for us?
First of all, thank you for this incredible opportunity. It's actually my first podcast ever, and I have to say, what an amazing experience. You have been wonderful hosts and asked such interesting, really relevant questions. So I really, really appreciate that. And keep doing your amazing work. And I personally, I'm a big lover of podcasts. I'm going to be following you. And I am excited to find out about the other inspiring people that you have on this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and God has been kind. Thank you.